Right then, testing. Strap yourselves in, mate.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Hello friends, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. As always, I do hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, which is a lot. Giving you my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on it. And more importantly, as always, asking for yours. Apparently, Nicholas Jackson could be for sale. Apparently, loads of teams. I mean, this stinks of Chelsea briefing, but we'll get into it. Look, it doesn't surprise me at all if clubs are very interested in him, despite Chelsea's divide on him, and we will get into that. Also, pour one out for the Dean Howson links, because I kept saying, and if he could go to Real Madrid, he's off there, and it's seemingly very, very close indeed. Joao Pedro being linked to Chelsea, and yes, I know, collectively recoil with Chelsea being linked to a Brighton player. He's quite good though. We'll talk about it a little bit. Of course, we are playing a game against, hopefully, touch wood, fingers crossed, Manchester United's under 15s at time of recording. Maresca hasn't spoken yet. He does speak this morning, but I figured, I don't need to hear him speak. I can build a lineup with you, mate, here on the channel anyway, and we can preview the game a little bit. And I do want to speculate a bit on Chelsea's sponsor, inspired by listening to Ben Jacobs on the London is Blue podcast, of course, journalist who's well informed, did reiterate and speak about, we were speaking to Mercedes-Benz not too long ago, which I think would be quite a cool looking sponsor personally, and we can speculate a little bit about what to expect and what money we're going to get, etc. So thanks for joining me as always. Strap yourselves in. A bit of a longer intro because it might be a bit of a longer video. Who knows? But thanks for joining me, guys. As always, I do appreciate the support. So if you want to support, why not drop a like on this video and subscribe? Hey, you! Yeah, I'm talking to you. You always watch, but you never like and subscribe. Do that now. It's cold today in the kingdom, and I've got snotty nose and hay fever. So I'm a little bit sad, but we're going to get through it. What a freaking millennial wuss. I have a snotty nose, and I'm a little bit sad. Look, man, Nico Jackson. I'm reading this from goal.com. I think it may have originated from the Telegraph, but this is on goal.com. I'm not going to share the screen because I don't need to for this moment. Chelsea have reportedly received multiple inquiries about striker Nicholas Jackson as the Blues consider his future. Oh yeah, so this is, sorry, not from the Telegraph, it's from Ravello journalist Matteo Moretto. Multiple teams have contacted Chelsea. This doesn't, to be fair, this doesn't feel like Chelsea briefing then, because it seems a bit more exotic and further afield. Have contacted Chelsea about Jackson's availability. Ravello is Spanish? I mean, he's come from Spain, Jackson, to the Premier League. Scored some goals, we'll speak about him in a moment. The bigger picture, this comes at times when Chelsea have shortlisted 5 strikers. What we were. Yeah, maybe we're looking for a new starting striker, and we're looking at Mark Yu, Shin Mweka, other false nines as a rotational option. We'll get into it. And of course, Jackson, being African, does go away to AFCON as well. He scored a few goals. Chelsea, it says we've signed him for 32 million here, pounds, but I thought it was 33 million euros, which of course is less than 30 million pounds. Either way, I think it's a bargain. I'll get into it now. No matter what you think of Nicholas Jackson, should Chelsea sell the striker, we would make a handsome profit on him. Because strikers are at a premium, the best ability is availability, as Nick Valani says on the aforementioned London is Blue podcast. And he is, apart from getting red cards and injury this season, generally he's a very, very available striker. He can play for 90 minutes, he can run the channels, he can hold the ball up. He can actually demonstrate good technical link-up play. We've seen that with the likes of Cole Palmer and others. And of course, he scores goals. He's double digits both seasons, young player. He's on a long contract. He'd cost a lot of money. He's football coaches, yeah, love Nicholas Jackson. Pochettino loved him. Maresca's probably quite upset with him lately for obvious reasons, but Maresca was like, you can see we're a different team with Jackson in the side. To the point where, as much as we're all annoyed with Jackson missing chances and acting like a petulant child, I'd still, in these upcoming final games, want him in the starting lineup. I know, like, we've, excuse me, this hay fever's wild. We've been really frustrated with him, and, you know, there's a lot of stuff on social media when he got his suspension, like, oh, cool, we might actually do better without him. But the truth is, the managers that have coached him at Chelsea love him. And it doesn't surprise me at all that he has suitors. I think my position has remained and will always remain the same on Jackson. He represents an excellent signing. Am I like wedded to him forever? No. We could sell him because I know we'll make a profit and we'll sign other strikers, and he does annoy me. Would I be happy to keep him? Absolutely. You know? But I don't want him starting. I'll repeat what I've said in the last few days. I don't want him starting for Chelsea now, but I'm not against him starting for Chelsea in the future. He's 23 years old. He's had good moments. By the time he's 25, by the time he's Alexander Isak's age, he might be really good. And he can be Chelsea striker for the next 7 years, starting striker. Do you know, I'm not against it, but right now, this guy needs to be taken out of the limelight for his own good and for our good. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all that there are suitors across Europe. All right, so yeah, look, I said this over and over and over. Dean Howson, of course, Premier League clubs, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, like him, unsurprisingly. But he is a Spanish international. It is Real Madrid. I said if they could get a deal done, he will go there. And I think he was prepared to maybe go to a Premier League team. But yes, he's always said that he wanted to go to Real Madrid. He was making kissy faces at them for ages if a deal could be done. Reports over the night suggest that Real Madrid will pay the release clause to Bournemouth in a structure, like, basically, rather than slamming the money down. Yeah, and if he goes to Bournemouth, his employer, I want to go to them. Look, they're offering the money, even if it's a little bit more staggered than Premier League teams. Sell me to them, please. You know. Also, I know Bournemouth, I wouldn't be strengthening a rival, but, you know, there's probably an element of you don't want him doing man-of-the-match performances against you when you're trying to qualify for, who knows, top 8 or something next season, Bournemouth. So there is a bit of that. And, of course, yeah, I'm sort of okay with that. It would have been nice to sign him, but I kept saying to you guys, as soon as Real Madrid gets serious, he's gone. It's not official yet, but it's pretty much done. Of course, we are looking at alternatives. Fabrizio Romano, when reporting on this story, reiterated Chelsea are really, big appreciators, admirers of Mark Guehi, as am I. He's, the captain of Crystal Palace, a consistently good performer at England international. And he'll bring some leadership to the back line while not being that. Oh, how's he at 26? He's entering his prime. He's a really good centre-back. I'll be very, very happy with Mark Guehi signing. Although Dean Howson is a little bit more Galactico in his qualities, he's just turned 20. At least with Mark Guehi, he's young, but he's a captain. What do we desperately need? Leadership at the back. He's that guy. I'd be gassed. I'd be really happy if we signed Mark Guehi. Would you? Let me know in the comments. Right, so let's talk João Pedro. This is coming from multiple sources, but the Telegraph have spoken about Chelsea along with Arsenal and Liverpool are all showing interest in Brighton forward João Pedro ahead of a possible summer transfer. So it's not just us sniffing around Brighton, as is our constant inclination. It's Arsenal and Liverpool. So first and second place in the Prem as it stands. So let's have a little look at some reference points. Nico Jackson is the reference at the moment for us because he's our starting striker. These are the stats this season. And actually, João Pedro in green here, guys, it's a lot better. Now, you might see the Nico Jackson blue line higher, but it's actually a bad look for him in some ways. Because although it's good to take a lot of shots per 90 here and generate a lot of XG per 90, the fact how he's scoring less than João Pedro shows that he's much more profligate. He wastes chances. He wastes shots and he underperforms his XG. Joao Pedro, like a good striker, slightly overperformed his XG. Nico Jackson's massively underperforming it. Now, look, I don't want to be a complete knob here. Generating XG is a good thing. It means you've done a lot right. You're getting in the position to score goals. So, good. Well done. If you don't generate high XG, you could be like, I'm not missing chances. Well, you're not giving yourself the chances to miss. You might be a passenger in the game, which isn't a good look. Although expected goal build up per 90, Joao Pedro much better in the build up. Makes more key passes, makes more expected assists, makes more assists, much more creative. He's a good player. Don't worry, we are going to talk about some actual football in a moment, but I did want to speak about this. Here is his X value page. To be honest, I see the Star Trek sign. It means good. This is Joao Pedro's performance chart. He is good at shooting. He is good at assisting. He's good at carries. He's good at passing, and he's good at aerials. That's a big one for me. Another one worth mentioning, guys. If you look at his heat map, he's a slightly left-sided attacker, which makes sense because we have often a right winger, and Cole Palmer likes to be in the right pocket. So the striker, we kind of use a striker that's slightly left pocket orientated anyway, which this is what Joao Pedro does. I mean, imagine systemically he might be playing as a 2-striker system for Brighton as well, which is, I'm not entirely sure, which might be why you skewed a little bit in terms of his heat map being on the left-hand side. Now, if this loads, here we go. This is more of his advanced stats, and his polar chart, which is strong. Non-penalty XG is very low. But when he gets the chances, he seems to score them. Good at receiving through balls like a good striker. He can dribble. He's good at cutbacks. Again, expected threats from passes, very good. Quite decent dribbling again. And expected assists, very creative. So yeah, I think you're obviously on penalties there because his expected goals is 93, which is high, but then it's only 83 non-penalty. So you'd want him to do a little bit more of the Nico Jackson in terms of goal-scoring positions, but he opens his chance creation's good, his expected threat's good. He's a good player, basically. He is a good player, and do I want Chelsea to sign a Brighton striker? Not overly, but he might, because everyone's so friggin' like their heart set on like an Osimhen or Gyökeres, which I don't see happening. Maybe Arsenal, Gyökeres, or even United. It would be really tough to sign Osimhen, but whether it's a Sashko or a Delap or someone, people might have their hearts set on a certain striker. But if for example, we can't sign one of the two or three big strikers, if a Hugo Ekitike turns up, or even a Joao Pedro, I'll be like, at least we've got something, At least we've got something to go with the other additional quality of an Andre Santos, of an Estevan Willian, of a Georgi Petrovic that we know are already owned by us coming into the squad. We just need strikers. I'm not going to go too much into it, but there's also been reports today that Chelsea prefer Jamie Gittins over Alejandro Garnacho, which will make a lot of Chelsea fans happy. I think Garnacho does offer a lot and has a high ceiling at Man United. Bearing in mind, hold on, my door, one sec. Amazon delivery. So yeah, I think Garnacho does. People forget how young he is as well. I do think he adds a lot, but I get it. Chelsea fans might recoil at that potential signing. I think it would cost a lot of money. I think Jamie Gittins is great. He's a very much 1v1 winger, what Maresca wants. Of course, there's been briefings the last couple of days that Maresca is going nowhere, no matter how the season finishes. So fine, give him his profile of player. That is a Jamie Gittins 1v1. He won't be on insane wages. He won't cost insane money. It will be in place of a Jadon Sancho. To be honest, fine. I've seen Noni Madueke play on the left quite well sometimes. Pedro Neto can. It's going to be okay. But Tyreek George is going to stay. It's not the biggest problem. It's striker. So who knows? Maybe Joao Pedro. All right. We will make a line in just a moment. I just want to speak about sponsors as well because I have no idea who's going to sponsor Chelsea. Of course, we've got the temporary Damac deal. A lot of people speculate, maybe we'll just get Damac. Long-term deal. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's very much a momentary thing. That, by the way, is actually quite a good rate if you look at it. Chelsea have spoken to airlines. We've spoken to all sorts. I was dreaming of unrealistic sponsors like Nintendo. But we did have talks, of course, at the turn of the year with Mercedes-Benz, which does feel very new Chelsea, doesn't it? And I actually would quite like Mercedes-Benz as a sponsor. I think the aesthetic would look good. Good cars. I don't think I have any, without knowing, I don't have any like moral issues with Mercedes-Benz as a shirt sponsor, but the fact remains, like, to be honest, I'd rather, the top that I don't want is a betting sponsor, but that's becoming against the rules now after next season. You can't have a main shirt sponsor as a betting partner. You can do sleeves and stuff still. But I would quite like Mercedes-Benz in terms, if we're just speaking of aesthetic. We did react to the new kit yesterday. Nike themselves tweeted the new kit promotion, then deleted it, obviously because Chelsea weren't ready, which is a really funny, typical bit of social media banter. But yeah, the kit does look nice. I'm a big fan of it. And put a Mercedes-Benz logo on it, I must say I'd probably buy it. I didn't buy any of this season's kits. I bought 2 or 3 last season, but yeah. All right, the game. So Manchester United, in a few days' time, they are playing the Europa League final in what is going to be a very peculiar final between Tottenham Hotspur, who, by the way, are missing Maddison and Kulusevski. I will talk about that on the second channel. Little reminder that I upload daily content on Football Yannick, the sister channel to this that speaks all things football that's not related to Chelsea. So Man United will have not one eye, but both eyes on that. Saying that, though, even if they put out the under-15s, they've, apart from last season in that weird game, they've got an amazing record at Chelsea, or like an unbeaten for a long time, and they've sort of become a bit of a bogey team, but they are so bad this season. I'm just terrified that we have the capacity to lose to Man United at home. We do. Maybe they do play a second team that the shackles are off, the pressure's off, and they just beat Chelsea. I'm not going to try and speculate who they're going to start. It'd probably be by India and this, that, and the other. And I wonder if they'll play some. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they do play the first team just for some momentum. Like, screw it, Kulusevski and Maddison's injured. Let's just practice against the team. Oh, I've no idea what to expect. It could be heavily rotated. It could be a youth team. It could be a lot of first team players. I do think the likes of Bruno Fernandes will want to play, who can obviously hurt us. And it's going to be tough. With that, let's build a lineup for Chelsea versus Manchester United at home in the penultimate game of the season. Of course, Jackson is banned for the rest of the season, the aforementioned, so we're going to have to find a solution here. But in goal, it will be Rob Sanchez. We will have first choice at left back, and Levi Colwill will continue his partnership with Trevoh Chalobah in the back line, making a de facto back three. Ooh, yes, so spicy times, guys. I think after watching Caicedo get roasted last time out at St. James's Park, it was only one moment, but we did look better with him in the midfield. And I think I already know what I'm doing here. I'm going to recall Reece James as a sort of more conventional right back, though he will invert into the midfield. He will, to join Caicedo. I'm going hella pragmatic here, guys. Lavia. And in the cam, Enzo Fernandez. It's not going to like that, is it? See him. Now, listen to me. I really disliked Enzo Fernandez as a number 10 playing for Mauricio Pochettino. I think it was a waste because we played such high risk transitional football, and Fernandez can't run fast or really tackle that well. It really exposed him, and we didn't get enough out of them. Maresca's football is different. It's much more controlled, and we get a lot better at Fernandez. Now, this will essentially be like a back three, Reece James joining Lavia and Caicedo in midfield, so another three. That's a block 6! And then Fernandez, I'm going to go with Madueke at left wing again, even though you know, he wasn't great last time out. He can be good. I think he can cook Man United. Neto on the right. And you're probably thinking early doors, I'm going to play Tyreek George as a striker. I'm not. I'm going to play Palmer as a striker. Now, you might think this is mental and it wastes him, and you could be right. But the truth remains is, we could easily, in the middle of the game, see this. Yeah. We could see rotation, certainly from there to maybe not Madueke. And of course, you could see Tyreek George come off the bench and play down the middle. Mark Guew is nearly ready in terms of fitness. Obviously, he's not going to start out of nowhere, but he might play 30 minutes, 20 minutes off the bench. And I think in this kind of game, if you have so much midfield presence, so Fernandes can step forwards. Just in the absence of Nico Jackson, I would want to try that. But I also would want Maresca to be proactive. We've seen him make changes before. Be like, right, that isn't working. Even if it's 30 minutes, I'm going to stick on a Tyreek George. You know, maybe not turn to Shinmaweka or Guew or something straight away. But maybe like a Tyreek George, or, you know, even if it's not working, you could just go bam like that. Do you know what I mean? And also, you could make all kinds of changes. But there's so much quality there at home against the United side that simply will not be thinking of this game. I have to predict a Chelsea win. I have to. I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet because Man United always have it up their sleeve to stick one past Chelsea, and Rob Sanchez and Bruno Fernandes there. And who knows, Mason Mount is probably going to score a goal against us because the gods of narrative dictate so. But I'm going to say Chelsea win 3-1 and we go into the final day, hopefully with the permutations elsewhere, not needing a win, or maybe a draw will do it away at Forest. But I do think we win this game. And guys, if we don't win this game, we don't deserve diddly squat. Simple as. Let me know your thoughts, though, on everything I've spoken about down in the comment section below. Thank you, as always, for supporting my content. You can do so by just liking and subscribing. Do check out the second channel, should you want to. And remember, there is merch. There is merch available. Goat Gang merch. And football therapy hoodies and all sorts and stuff. So they'll be under the video if you want them, mate. All right, take care of yourselves. See you very soon. Enjoy the football. Peace.